What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Thank you for watching. Today's video is unfortunately going to be related to the tragic incident that happened last week. Of course, I'm talking about the Charlie Kirk assassination. Horrible event, tragic, and I think just kind of shocking in general. Now, everyone has already made a million videos on the topic, so I'm not going to go into detail. In fact, I don't even know what I'm going to title this video yet, because I don't even want to use his name or the incident for views. However, the video is directly related to what happened, so I don't know yet. I'll figure that out later. All I can really say about the assassination itself is I don't remember a death in a very long time that's had this many people scratching their heads wondering what the heck happened, because it just feels so unnecessary. This guy went around to college campuses, debated people who disagreed with him on politics, and for the most part did it in a very nice way. That's like the literal foundation of our First Amendment and what's supposed to make America a great and unique country. Everyone gets to bring their ideas to the table. You figure out whose ideas you like best and vote accordingly. And if you disagree with someone, you debate them and try to change their mind.
So what's so controversial about that? They called Charlie Kirk divisive for doing that. And when people say that about people who literally act out the tenets of the U.S. Constitution, I see it as them letting us know what they really think about the U.S. Constitution.
That's basically all he was doing. So I've had a few people ask me to make a full video on it. Since everyone else is already doing that, I've decided not to. All I can really say is rest in peace, condolences to his family, and I'm sorry for just a terrible event. However, one thing I do want to touch on is this theory that I keep seeing in pretty much every single comment section, that because of the distance and precision of the shot, it had to be a professional hit job done by a skilled shooter. A lot of people are posting the suspect and saying there's no way this kid could have made that shot. I saw a lot of this after the Trump attempt as well. I think that one was from 130 yards. At first they said this was a 200-yard shot. Now I think they're saying it was actually 142 yards. If you haven't seen the video, that's probably best. Don't watch it. But he did get hit in the neck, and for the record, I think this guy actually missed his target as well. Obviously, it didn't matter because he got lucky, but I highly doubt he was aiming for a neck shot. It probably went low or high, depending on where he was aiming. So what I'm gonna try to prove to you all in today's video is that personally, I believe any human being on planet Earth, probably even a child with no experience, could learn how to make that shot in under an hour of range time with a little bit of coaching. 30 cal rifle, magnified scope, 142 yards. That is not a difficult shot whatsoever. So all these theories that it was Mossad, CIA, deep state, hired assassins. By the way, I'm not saying any of those aren't plausible. It's just your only evidence cannot be the difficulty of the shot.
Okay, so the reason why a lot of people are going into conspiracies is that there are certain things that don't add up. The fact that the video of the shooter jumping off the roof with a duffel bag or with something, a smaller bag that didn't look like he was carrying a fully assembled rifle, looked suspicious, because dismantling a rifle, takes time. And the video showed him jumping off the roof in record time. So how long will it have taken him to dismantle the rifle? And then he drops off the rifle in the forest or in the woods, and the FBI find the rifle fully assembled. So these are the kinds of questions that people are asking, like, what on earth is going on? It's as if, the numbers don't add up.
Because that is not a difficult shot with the equipment that he used. So I'm going to try to prove it to you and hopefully put this myth to bed once and for all, so that, God forbid, if another one of these events ever happen, we can avoid the shot difficulty argument and save time not reading so many of these comments. Plus, look at his rifle that they found in the woods nearby. I don't know about you, but that does not look like an assassin's weapon to me. Notice the scope mount hanging over the ejection port, barely on the rails, rings up against the turrets. It's just a disaster. We know he did not watch the channel, because that setup is blasphemy. Now, to try and prove this point in today's video, the rifle we're gonna use is my Savage Axis Bolt Action 308. This is not a 30-06, which is what Doofus used, but ballistically it is very similar. 308 actually replaced 30-06 in military use. They do similar damage on target, similar weight, velocity, bullet drop, etc. The reason I'm using this instead of one of my 30-06s is because this is the cheapest entry-level bolt-action rifle that I own with, by far, the cheapest, crappiest scope that I have. This is literally how they sell these rifles, for like $200 or $300. I haven't adjusted the scope, leveled it, nothing. And my theory is if it's possible with this, it would be possible with anything. And by the way, I am not an expert shooter, not former military, not former law enforcement, not a sniper, just a regular dude that shoots as a hobby. So let's see if we can do it. All right, guys, we've got our first target set up. Obviously, out of respect, we're not gonna use ballistic dummies or any humanoid target like that. Just a regular paper bullet.
Yeah, I appreciate that. He's being very sensitive to the audience and also to the family of Charlie Kirk. I was concerned that he was going to do something of the sort, and that would have affected whether I will be willing to publish this video. But he's being as respectful as he can be.
Bullseye at 142 yards. I'm gonna aim right in the middle, and we'll see how an average shooter like myself can do at this distance with the crappiest equipment possible. And by the way, that's no shade towards the Savage. I actually like that rifle for the money, but the scope is pure butt cheeks, and it is like the cheapest rifle money can buy. Let's get it. Okay, we were at exactly 142 yards. I just pinged it with my rangefinder. I tried to show the camera, but it won't let me. This is about as far as we can go on this shooting range. I've got 3 rounds in our magazine, American whitetail soft points, just basic hunting rounds, not like super accurate match grade ammo. I'm trying to stack all the odds against me so I can really prove the point. Now, from what I've heard, he was laying prone on that roof. He had a book bag, probably used it as a shooting rest. I can't actually shoot from the prone out here because the bullets will go over the backstop, but I did bring out my table and I've got the rifle resting on just a regular book bag. So 142 yards, this is pretty much identical to the shot. One thing I will say that's in my favor is I'm just shooting paper targets, whereas if you're not a sociopath in that situation, I would imagine you would have an elevated heart rate, adrenaline dump and stuff like that, and that could affect your accuracy. But if you ask me, most of these guys seem like complete psychopaths anyway, so.
Yeah, and you saw him during the court hearing. He was still looking straight forward, trying to control his movements. These guys have been trained to be devoid of human emotion. Like when you decide that you will not have anything to do with your family simply because they disagree with your political position or you don't agree with their political position, and you decide to cut off your family that way. I mean, it's being a sociopath, okay? You don't cut off your family because of politics. Only people who are sociopathic do that.
He was probably cool as a cucumber. I'm sure you guys can't see the target at all. We will go look at it after we take the shots, obviously. 3 rounds, 142 yards. This scope is so bad. I also haven't checked the zero. I assume it's close enough. Let's see.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Right, he didn't hit the bullseye.
3 rounds at 142 yards. Those all felt really good.
So it's off by a few. So what's his conclusion?
All right, let's take a look at the shots. Now keep in mind, this is not a 1 MOA rifle, and it's certainly not a precision scope. So 1 MOA at 140 yards would be a 1.4 inch group. And that's if the rifle was like in a vise shooting absolutely perfect with no human error. 2 MOA would be a 2.8 inch group and so on. So factor in a little human error and the worst scope I've ever used. And that is the group we got at 142 yards with a cheap Savage Axis 308. Each one.
Okay, so here's my take as someone who has never fired a rifle, but just looking at the math of this, if depending on where he was aiming, he would still have hit Charlie. Like looking at the fact that the guy wasn't a professional sniper, and all the other things that were stacked up against him, and this creator, One Shot TV, used a rifle that had not been optimized. And yet he was able to hit within the target from 140 yards. So the question is, with this spread and with this accuracy, what will the outcome have been if the shooter had all these odds stacked against him? Let's hear what he has to say.
One of those squares is 1 inch. I would say that is probably a 2.5 inch group. That is 3 on-target hits at 142 yards, without a doubt. Bring up the tape measure so you can see for yourself. It is just under 3 inches. So if this is a 2 MOA gun, that's about as good as the rifle can shoot. And I really can't overstate how crappy that scope is. The minute I got down there and looked through it, I thought, oh man, this might be a little bit harder than I thought. But either way, this definitely proves the point. With the cheapest scope and rifle combination that I own at 142 yards, we just got 3 headshots on the very first attempt. Some people were speculating that maybe the guy aimed center mass and did not account for the bullet hitting high at that distance. This would certainly support that theory because all 3 of those did go a little bit high. So
yeah, so if he was aiming for the torso, but the bullet went higher, that could account for where the bullet hit Charlie.
I think the point's proven. You do not have to be a professional assassin or a former Navy SEAL CIA agent to make a 142-yard shot. We just did it with the cheapest equipment that I own. If we had a better rifle, better optic, those bullets would be even closer together. And I think really anyone off the street with a little bit of experience could make that shot. And I'll reiterate, I don't think this guy even did make the shot. I think he missed his target. It just had the same end result. So everyone assumed that he was some deadly marksman, but I'm not buying it. I think the kid's a dork. All right, guys, before we get out of here, I want to up the difficulty a little bit. I've got 5 targets on the table. We're going to start with the big.
Okay, so I'm going to stop here. So already the first thing he did proved his point. Now, now the argument that is circulating about this being a professional hit is going to stay out there as long as the facts surrounding the location the gun was found, the condition it was in, according to him, he had broken down the rifle before jumping off the roof, and then he had reassembled the rifle, laid it in the in the pack, and then left it in the woods. Like it was essentially gift wrapped for the FBI to find, but it didn't seem like that was the same rifle that was used, because when he jumped off the roof, or at least the person that they said was him jumping off the roof, there was no sign of an assembled rifle. So those are some of the questions that people need answered. And as long as those questions aren't answered, we're going to continue to have people coming up with conspiracy theories. And to be honest, I am not optimistic that those conspiracies are going to go away, because we're over 50 years out and JFK still hasn't been essentially solved. We still have the conspiracies, it was the CIA and so on, So I think it's still going to remain the same. Well, we're going to stop it here. Let me know what you think of his conclusion that the shooter didn't have to be a professional to make the shot. I can see what he's saying. Okay, but it leaves the other side of things leaves a huge question mark about why it is that we had the gun dropped off in the woods, fully assembled, when it may have been broken down on the rooftop. Why did he reassemble it and gift wrap it for the FBI? Number 2, we're looking at the messaging, the messages that were sent to his lover, and the way they were worded. It was also suspicious. Those are things that need to be cleared up. And until then, we'll keep our eyes on news about the findings. Thanks for watching this long. And if you watched this long, please consider subscribing to the channel, like the video, and share the video. And if you can, support the video by donating using a super thank. It's a means that YouTube gives you to donate to the channel. And if you want to work closer with us, please consider subscribing to the channel by using the link in the description of the video or in the pinned comment. And that helps us out a whole lot, helps support the channel, keep us doing what we're doing, and keeps us independent. Thank you so much for watching this long. Until next time, God bless you, and I'll see you on the next one.